Let us discuss one more beautiful concept, especially related to the competitive exams. Most of the questions they were asking on the basis of a concept like this: force on a dielectric slab inserted inside a charged capacitor. Force on a dielectric slab inserted inside a charged capacitor. We have a charged capacitor, a dielectric slab is inserted inside it. Will it experience any force or not? If so, we need to calculate that force. It's very simple. Here is a capacitor. Here is a capacitor. This capacitor is provided with a dielectric slab. The dielectric slab is partially inside and partially outside, like this. Already it is fully charged. That means this plate is given positive charge. Here negative charge is induced. Due to the polarization concept, here we have some negative charge. Here we have some positive charge. This charge is bound charge, this charge is free charge. What will happen? If you observe clearly, usually we will take like this, usual consideration. Usual consideration. In usual consideration, if two plates are like this, one is given positive charge, another one is given negative charge, the electric field is uniform like this. All the lines of force are parallel to each other. But in real situation, in real consideration, the lines of force are parallel to each other inside this capacitor like this, but as you are coming to the edges, they will get some curve shaped nature. They will get some curved shaped nature. This effect is called fringe effect or fringing effect. Fringing. Fringing effect. So due to the fringing effect, almost when you are coming to the edges of capacitor, the lines of force are having some curved shaped structure like this. If I consider a negative charge here inside the dielectric, that negative charge is getting attracted by the positive charge on the plate in this direction. Similarly, if I take a positive charge inside the dielectric, it is attracted by the negative charge on the plate of the capacitor in this direction. So each and every charge available inside the dielectric is experiencing a force nearer to this edge in this direction, nearer to this edge in this direction, nearer to this edge in this direction. The net force will be in this direction, resultant of these two. Definitely, whenever you keep a dielectric medium in between the plates of a capacitor, due to the fringing effect, the electric lines of force are curved in structure. They are providing some net force in the in the inside direction of the capacitor. So the capacitor plates are trying to pull this dielectric slab into the space between them. Definitely, a dielectric slab placed between, K is the dielectric constant, the plates of a capacitor will experience a force in the direction to the inner portion of capacitor. Here you may expect force, but they will cancel each other. So no force in perpendicular direction to the plates of the dielectric. There is a force in a direction parallel to the plates of the dielectric. Now I would like to calculate this force. What is the reason for this force? Fringing effect is the reason for force generated on the dielectric slab which is kept between the plates of a charged capacitor. I would like to calculate this force. In order to calculate this force, again here two cases will come. When capacitor is fully charged, if we remove the battery, that is one case. If the battery is still connected, that is the second case. Now let us discuss the first case, case number 1. What is first case? Capacitor is fully charged, comma, battery got disconnected. Battery got disconnected. In this case, I would like to find the force experienced by the dielectric given by the plates of the capacitor. How to calculate this force? If I would like to bring this dielectric out, I need to apply some external force. I am applying external force such that it is moving with constant speed. That means no change in kinetic energy is observed. I am slowly taking the dielectric in the outward direction by applying an external force. In order to provide the constant speed, the net force should be 0. That means there is a net force in this direction which is exactly equal in magnitude to the applied force, which makes the dielectric to move with constant speed. That means external force what I am applying must be equal to net inward force. Net inward force. How to calculate external force? External force is not bringing change in kinetic energy, but external force is bringing change in potential energy. So that external force is equal to potential energy is going to change with respect to time. So du by, with respect to distance, not with respect to time. As the distance is changing, the potential energy is also going to change. Force is a negative gradient of potential energy. Gradient means derivative with respect to distance. And how to calculate potential energy? As the battery got disconnected, capacitor is fully charged, charge remains constant. In this case, charge remains constant. Therefore, potential energy can be calculated by using Q square by 2C. By calculating potential energy, by differentiating potential energy, you will get external force. External force must be equal to net inward force to keep the dielectric to move with constant speed. To keep the dielectric to move with almost constant speed. So how to calculate? First of all, we should know about the capacitance of this. So for understanding purpose, I am drawing the figure once again here. These are the two plates of the capacitor. Actually, they are like this in 3 dimension. There is a dielectric slab which is pulled like this. So you can Take this distance as x. Total length of the plate is L. So obviously the distance of dielectric which is available inside the capacitor is L minus x. Length of the plate is L and breadth of the plate is B. Breadth of the plate is B. And the dielectric constant of the dielectric is K. In 3 dimension you may imagine like this. This dielectric slab is pulled outwards by applying some external force. Here capacitance can be calculated by taking this air space and this dielectric space into consideration. So C effective can be calculated by taking C1 plus C2. C1 is the capacitance of this part. You know that per parallel plate capacitor, capacitance is given by epsilon naught A by D. So epsilon naught, area of this plate means length is x, breadth is b. So x into b is the area. By separation, let me take the separation as d. So this is the capacitance of the part of capacitor having length x separated with air. Remaining part k epsilon naught A by D, k into epsilon naught into length is L minus x into B is the area of the plate. The separation is D. And common is, so effective capacitance is given by epsilon naught B by D. If I take common, x plus KL minus KX. So finally, effective capacitance is given by epsilon naught B by D into if I take x common in these two, 1 minus k into x plus KL. I got capacitance. Then the energy stored is given by q square by 2c. I said that as battery got disconnected, total charge is constant. So q square by 2c. C means epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus KL. The d will go into the numerator part, q square d. Already here b is there. So you will get q square bd in the numerator part. Already b is there in the numerator. So epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus KL by d will go up. This b and b gets cancelled. B and b gets cancelled. Sorry, once again you see q square by 2c, 2 epsilon naught b into, so this b is not there, epsilon naught, sorry. Q square by 2c, 2 into epsilon naught b into d, d will become here. B will not go, b is there. This is the energy stored. So by knowing the energy stored value, we can calculate the force. How to calculate force? Force is given by minus du by dx. That is nothing but minus d by dx of q square d by 2 epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus KL. On differentiation, you will get the net force value like this. So net force is equal to minus d by dx of q square d by 2 epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus kl whole power minus 1. So here q square d by 2 epsilon naught b is constant. It is in the form of x power minus 1. So minus 1 into 1 minus k into x plus kl n into x power n minus 1. So it becomes minus 2. Already here minus is there. This minus and minus gets cancelled. So finally you are left with net force is given by q square d by 2 epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus kl. Very important formula for solving so many problems. We use this formula. If you are unable to do the derivation, at least try to remember the formula. What is the formula? Q square into, again in differentiation part, n into x power n minus 1, and again for this part we need to write the derivative, that is 1 minus k. So 1 minus k also will come in the numerator part. 1 minus k will come in the numerator part. So q square d into 1 minus 1 by k in the numerator part, 2 epsilon naught b into 1 minus k into x plus kl whole square. It is square. This will be the force experienced by a dielectric placed between the two plates of a capacitor, such that x is the space available here. Battery got disconnected, therefore we took capital Q as constant. So this is the formula. Now let us go to the second case. The second case is the same force experienced by the dielectric if the battery is still connected. Battery is still connected means net potential is constant. How we have to do? Let us see. Now let us calculate the force acting on the dielectric, which is kept inside the capacitor in case 2. Case 2 means here battery is still connected. Battery is still connected. Capacitor is fully charged. Battery is still connected, capacitor is fully charged. As battery is still connected, the potential remains constant here. The potential is nothing but EMF of the cell, which is constant during this discussion. In the case 1, charge is constant as we removed the battery. In the second case, battery is providing additional energy to keep the potential as constant. Now let us see the diagram. So here is the parallel plate capacitor. This capacitor is provided with a dielectric. This dielectric is like this. So now capacitor is trying to pull it inside by applying some force. We need to calculate this net force. Already as the capacitor is charged, here positive charge is available. Here negative charge is available. Here positive charge is induced, here negative charge is induced. If you see the dimensions of the plate, in 3 dimension, the plate is like this. The length of the plate is L, breadth of the plate is B, and the dielectric constant of the dielectric is K, and it is still connected to the battery. So the connection with battery we can show like this. The potential applied by the battery is V. Potential applied by the battery is V. And here this part of the capacitor's capacitance is C1, this part of capacitor's capacitance is C2, and we would like to calculate the effective capacitance. Before to that, you try to understand the portion of dielectric which is available inside the capacitor is X. So the remaining length is L minus X. Now the dielectric actually it is like this in 3 dimension. 3 dimension it is like this. Now how to calculate the force here? Before calculating force, let me calculate the effective capacitance. Effective capacitance is C1 plus C2 because this capacitor is parallel to this, the second portion of the capacitor. First part of the capacitor is having epsilon naught A by D, epsilon naught into A means area, length into breadth. This part is L minus X and breadth is B. So L minus X into B by separation is D. Separation between the plates is D. Here it is completely filled with dielectric of dielectric constant K. So K epsilon naught A by D, K into epsilon naught. Area means X into B by D. And if I take common epsilon naught B by D, you are left with L minus X here plus Kx here. That implies effective capacitance is given by epsilon naught B by D, K minus 1 into X plus L. K minus 1 into X plus L. This is the effective capacitance. Now, how to calculate the force here? Before to that, let me calculate the derivative of this capacitance with respect to X, dC by dx or dC effective by dx. Nothing but d by dx of epsilon naught B by D into K minus 1 into X plus L. So you will get epsilon naught B by D for K minus 1 into X, K minus 1 will be the derivative. For L is a constant, its derivative becomes 0. So this is nothing but dC by dx. To make our calculation simpler, let me take the entire system like this. Initially it is having some potential energy Ui. Ui is the potential energy of the system. System means capacitor plates along with the dielectric. Now here the capacitor plates are doing some work to bring the dielectric inside. So work done by the capacitor, I am taking it as W. Work done by capacitor. At the same time, as the plates of the capacitor are still connected with the battery of potential V, the battery is providing some energy. So energy supplied by the battery, let it be EB. EB is the energy supplied to the battery to increase the energy. Some part of energy is expended for doing work. So here, this is the capacitor system, capacitor as a system. Now, I can write an equation here. as the battery is providing some additional energy and some of the internal energy is doing some work, energy provided by the battery DEB is equal to VDQ. dq is the energy supplied, then dE is the energy. We can write like this. So total energy supplied by the battery means integral V dq. Nothing but work done. Work done is potential into charge. dW is equal to V dq. Work done is equivalent to energy. So energy supplied by the battery can be calculated by V dq. Already some internal energy is there. It is added with energy supplied by the battery, which is useful for doing some work, and some energy is left over, that is nothing but final energy plus work done. Then energy supplied by the battery can be written as U final minus U initial plus work done. You can write it like this: integral DEB, integration and derivative gets cancelled, is equal to integral DU plus integral DW. Integral DU plus integral DW. Let us keep this equation aside. We may use it for calculation of force. How to calculate the force? Let me erase this part. From the last equation, integral DEB is equal to integral DU plus integral DW. Integral DEB is, if I take integral on both sides, integral DEB is nothing but EB, that is equal to VDQ. So integral DEB can, from the last equation, integral DEB is equal to integral DU plus integral DW. You know that Q is equal to CV and U is equal to half CV square. Here V is constant, therefore dQ is equal to, as V is constant, capacity is variable. You should write like this. Similarly, you want du means derivative of half CV square. As V is constant, du is equal to V square by 2 dC. Here already we calculated integral DEB as V dQ, integral du as V square by 2 dC, integral dW means f dx. dQ can be replaced with V dC half into integral, otherwise potential is constant, integral dC, f is constant, integral dx. It becomes V square dC minus V square by 2 integral dC is equal to f integral dx. So finally f integral dx is equal to V square by 2 integral dC. Already we calculated dC by dx as epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1. From this only dC value, if you take, this dx will go that side. dC is equal to epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1 into dx. So f into integral dx is equal to V square by 2 into integral dC is nothing but epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1 into integral dx. Integral dx gets cancelled. F is equal to, so epsilon naught b by d into v square by 2 into k minus 1. Don't worry about the derivation. Try to remember this formula. V square by 2 into epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1. And clearly it is independent of x. Independent of x. So we succeeded to calculate the force acting on the dielectric when battery is still connected. In this case, when battery is disconnected in the last case. Whether you understand the derivation or not, the final formula must be remembered by you such that we can go for applications. For example, one question, if it is asked like this, how can we solve? Find the time period of oscillation of a dielectric kept between the plates of a capacitor. So what is the next concept or problem, whatever you can say, theoretical problem it is. Oscillations of dielectric slab between plates of capacitor. Between plates of capacitor. Oscillations of dielectric slab between the plates of capacitor. We will use this formula. Here is a capacitor. Here is a dielectric slab. The portion of dielectric available inside the capacitor, let me take it as A. Its dielectric constant is K. And the separation between the plates is D. And it is still connected to the battery of potential V. And it is still connected to the battery of potential V. Length of the conductor or capacitor plate is L. So the remaining portion is L minus A. You can take the breadth of the plate, length as L, breadth as B. So this dielectric is also in 3 dimension, it is available. Okay. Now, what I would need to calculate is, I would like to calculate the time period. Because of the pulling force applied by the plates of the capacitor, the dielectric is having tendency to move inside and outside. It do some oscillations here. I would like to calculate the time period of oscillations of this dielectric slab between the plates of the capacitor. In order to calculate the time period, there is some force responsible for making the dielectric to move here. Nothing but force applied by the capacitor on the dielectric slab. So this is the formula what we derived in the last derivation. The same formula I am going to use here for solving. So what is the force? Force is given by V square by 2, nothing but voltage given by the battery by 2 into epsilon naught B by D. D is the separation between the plates, B is the width of the plate into K minus 1. Okay. By using this force value, we are going to calculate the time period. You know that acceleration A dash, let me take, nothing but force by mass, where m is the mass of the dielectric slab, which is going to do oscillations here. If I want to calculate acceleration, I should divide force with mass. So clearly, acceleration is given by v square by 2m into epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1. Epsilon naught b by d into k minus 1. Let me calculate time taken to travel through. Because of this force, it has to travel L minus a distance. Through L minus a distance. So time can be calculated according to the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square. As initially it is at rest, initial speed of the dielectric slab is 0. So distance to be travelled L minus a is equal to S is equal to ut plus half at square. Ut is 0, half into acceleration a dash into t square. Then time square is given by 2 into L minus a, 2 into L minus a by a dash. If you want time, you should take the square root of this. Already we calculated a dash value, so you can get the time value here. But I need time period. Time period means it has to go like this, again come back like this, again move back like this, again has to come back like this. It is called one oscillation. So t plus t plus t plus t. So time period is given by 4t. That is but 4 into 2 into L minus a by a dash. Therefore, time period of oscillation is given by 4 into square root of 2 into L minus a by a dash. A dash is nothing but v square epsilon naught b into k minus 1. This 2md will go up. 2 2's will come out as single 2. 4 2's are 8 into square root of L minus a into md by v square epsilon naught b into k minus 1. If I multiply with L and divide with L, length into breadth will give area of the plate. So time period is given by 8 into square root of L minus a into mld by length into breadth. I can take it as area v square epsilon naught area of the plate into k minus 1. This is the formula for time period of oscillation of a dielectric slab between the plates of a capacitor. 8 into square root of L minus a into mld in the numerator part, epsilon naught v square a into k minus 1 is in the denominator part. So I used the formula for force applying on the dielectric when the battery is still connected, and I calculated the time period. I hope you followed. Just note down this. Let us do one more interesting problem. If the two plates of a parallel plate capacitor, not exactly parallel to each other, if they are inclined to one another, how the capacitance of the capacitor is going to change, and what is the value of capacitor if the plates are inclined to each other? Let us see. Capacitance of a capacitor capacitance of a capacitor with inclined square plates. Capacitance of a capacitor with inclined square plates. So here one plate of the capacitor is horizontally placed, other plate it is something like this, other plate is like this. That means other plate is making an angle theta with the horizontal. The separation plate between the plates is d. I would like to find the capacitance of this capacitor. The dimensions of the plates are like this. As it is a square plate, each side is A, this side is A, even this side is also A. Okay. I want to find the capacitance of this capacitor. Each plate area is A square. Area of the plate is A square. Separation between the plates is d. And inclination of one plate with respect to other plate is theta. I would like to find the capacitance of this capacitor. For that purpose, let me take an elemental capacitor here. That means a portion of the capacitor like this. This elemental part I am considering. So which is at a distance x from this edge, having thickness dx. Having thickness dx. Actual separation between the two plates at this end is d. At this point, the separation is d dash. As it is x, it will be x. Let me take this height as h from here to here. Dx is very, very small when compared to x. Dx is very, very small when compared to x. First of all, let me find the capacitance of this capacitor part, and later I will do integration here. So first you tell me what is tan theta here. Tan theta. Tan theta means if you take this triangle, this height is h and this thickness is very small. So you neglect it. Tan theta is equal to opposite side h by x. That implies h is equal to x tan theta. H is equal to x tan theta. Area of elemental capacitor. Its width is A as usual, length is dx. So dA, let me take area of the elemental capacitor, small a dx. Area of the elemental capacitor is like this. Now the separation d dash is nothing but from here to here it is d, it is h. So d plus h I should write. D dash is equal to d plus h. I already calculated h value as x tan theta. I took theta is very small. When theta is small, tan theta can be replaced with, when theta is small, tan theta is approximately equal to theta. Tan theta is approximately equal to theta. Therefore, it becomes d plus x theta approximately. D plus x theta. Now capacitance of the elemental capacitor. Capacitance of elemental capacitor. DC is equal to epsilon naught dA by d dash. Epsilon naught dA by d dash. that is nothing but epsilon naught, the dA value is a dx by d dash is nothing but d plus x theta, d plus x theta. So dc is equal to epsilon naught a dx by, if I take d as common here, 1 plus x theta by d I can write. So take it to the numerator part, epsilon naught a dx by d into 1 plus x theta by d whole power minus 1. So as per binomial expansion, as theta is small, x theta is also very small as compared to d value. So this minus can be kept inside, epsilon naught a dx by d into 1 minus x theta by d. This is the capacitance of the elemental capacitor DC. Total capacitance of the capacitor is given by total capacitance C is equal to integral DC. That is nothing but integral epsilon naught a dx by d into 1 minus x d by d, x theta by d. So C is equal to epsilon naught a by d integral 1 minus x theta by d into dx. Integral dx is x, but here we should give the limits. Limits, who is the variable? Dx is the variable. Dx means you should take from this end to that end. So the total side is a, the total side is a. So 0 to a you can take as limits. So on simplification, epsilon naught a by d integral dx is x, theta by d is constant, x dx means x square by 2 limits are from 0 to a. If I substitute, C value is given as epsilon naught a square by d. By substituting a value in the place of x minus lower limit x value 0, if I take it 0. So final answer is 1 minus theta a by 2d. That will be the answer. Epsilon naught a square by d into 1 minus theta a by 2d. That is the capacitance of a capacitor in which square type of plates are available, but they are inclined to one another at an angle theta. If suppose it is a parallel capacitor, theta is 0. When you keep theta is equal to 0, epsilon naught a square by d. A square is nothing but area of each plate, epsilon naught a by d. So the same formula will come. So we will apply the basic mathematics to solve any situation with the basic understanding of capacity formula. Thank you.